The recent terrifying incident that occurred during the game between the Detroit Lions and the National Football League involved Taylor Swift's fiance, Travis Kelce. Swift recently made an emotional plea to NFL players, stating that everyone needs to exercise extra caution on the field because she wants her future husband to keep staying in good physical condition. Following a terrifying play that caused spectators to be extremely concerned about his safety and whether or not he would be able to continue playing in upcoming games, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, who was 36 years old, found himself at the center of attention. During the game against Detroit, Kelsey caught a pass from his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and appeared to be on his way to the end zone for a touchdown. However, Rock Ya-Sin, a defensive back for the Lions, made a tackle that turned out to be much more serious than he had anticipated, and he was able to prevent Kelsey from reaching the end zone. Due to the fact that the defensive player brought Kelsey down in such a violent manner, the tight hand was thrown completely upside down and his head slammed into the turf with tremendous force, creating a moment that caused everyone who was watching to feel genuine fear for his well-being. The collision appeared to be so dangerous that people immediately began asking why medical personnel were not running onto the playing surface to check whether or not he had suffered any brain injury as a result of the violent impact. After suffering such a severe blow to his head, fans took to various social media platforms to voice their disbelief and anger regarding the fact that the star player was not receiving immediate medical attention. After Kelsey's skull made contact with the ground, he appeared dazed and confused, and one person who was watching the game could not believe that he was not being considered for a head trauma test. A further supporter expressed their curiosity aloud as to why he was not present in the medical examination area, where he could have been examined for possible signs of a concussion. A third person asked in a serious manner how the medical staff could have watched him bounce his head off the field in such a manner without immediately removing him from the game for evaluation. Another individual insisted that he ought to have been transported to the medical tent located on the sidelines as soon as possible, taking into consideration the fact that his entire body weight had been placed on his head during the tackle. The overwhelming response from those who were watching, which demonstrated that more fans have been educated about the serious risks linked to head injuries in professional football and the long-term damage that can occur when players experience these kinds of violent hits, was demonstrated by the massive response from those who were watching. The presence of a specially trained and independent doctor at every professional football game is mandatory. This doctor has the authority to compel players to leave the field in order to undergo concussion testing, regardless of whether the coaches or the player themselves want this to occur at that particular moment. These medical professionals have received specialized training to identify the symptoms that lead to brain injuries, and they have the authority to make decisions that prioritize the well-being of the players over everything else, including the outcome of the game, regardless of whether the team wins or loses. Kelsey continued to play in the game and ended up being the most effective receiver for Kansas City during their victory on Sunday night. This was despite the fact that the fall appeared to be extremely serious and that thousands of people watching were visibly worried about what they had just witnessed. He demonstrated incredible toughness and a strong desire to continue performing at an elite level despite the terrifying experience he had just gone through by catching 6 passes for 78 yards out of 7 attempts that were made to him throughout the entirety of the game by the quarterback. The extraordinary physical and mental strength that distinguishes the very best professional athletes from regular people is demonstrated by the fact that he was able to recover from such a devastating hit and continue making important plays. As they work to secure a playoff spot in a division where every game is extremely important, the Kansas City team won the game against Detroit by a final score of 37. This brought their record to 3 wins and 3 losses as they continue to work toward achieving their goal. An already exciting night of football action was made even more exciting by the fact that Kelsey's girlfriend, Taylor Swift, was there to cheer him on from the stands at Arrowhead Stadium during this particularly significant home game. The well-known singer has been seen at a number of Chiefs games this season, and her appearances have brought a great deal of attention to both the team and the sport from individuals who do not typically pay a great deal of attention to football. Kelsey had a conversation with ESPN reporter Scott Van Pelt on the network's highlight show after the victory. During the conversation, Kelsey discussed how the team displayed their performance and the challenges they encountered during what turned out to be a challenging matchup against a talented Detroit team. Kelsey mentioned that the team had a shorter week to prepare for the game, which always creates additional problems because players have fewer days to heal from previous bumps and bruises, watch footage of their opponents, and learn new strategies or changes to their approach. Kelsey also mentioned that the team had a shorter week to prepare for the football game. He acknowledged that the Detroit team was a formidable adversary thanks to the presence of talented individuals at every position on the roster. The Chiefs, on the other hand, were overjoyed to be confronted with such a significant obstacle because taking on the best teams in the league enables championship-caliber organizations to gain a better understanding of where they stand and what aspects of their game require improvement. He felt proud of the fact that his team was able to score 30 points against a defense that, in general, does not permit teams to put up big numbers. This was especially true when taking into consideration how well Detroit has been coached throughout the season and how much their defensive leader has done to create problems for opposing offenses. Kelsey emphasized how extremely proud he was of his teammates for overcoming the challenges they encountered throughout the entire 60 minutes of play and finding a way to win the game. He stated that playing at their home stadium means that they must face challenges each and every week without fail. This is due to the fact that visiting teams always give their best effort when they come to Arrowhead Stadium, knowing that the crowd noise and atmosphere can be completely overwhelming, due to the fact that their mindset is entirely focused on whatever is occurring at the moment. The team does not spend a lot of time thinking about their record. In addition, head coach Andy Reid does an outstanding job of preparing his team both mentally and physically for their next opponent, regardless of the record of the opposing team or the reputation that they may have. Kelsey believes that the Chiefs become a very difficult team to beat when they compete for all 4 quarters with that kind of energy, heart, and focus. This is because the Chiefs have a combination of skill, coaching wisdom, and championship experience, which gives them advantages that very few other teams are able to replicate. However, the conversation quickly shifted from Kelsey's health and the team's victory to another contentious moment from the game. This moment had nothing to do with the tight end's terrifying fall, but it had everything to do with whether or not he actually caught an important pass. Fans, experts, and former referees all have different points of view regarding a particular catch that Kelsey made in the third quarter. This particular catch has become one of the most debated plays from the entire weekend. There is a disagreement regarding whether or not the tight end actually maintained control of the football after it appeared to touch the ground while he was attempting to complete the catch. Many fans have questioned the decision of the officials to allow the play to count without conducting a comprehensive video review that would have shown exactly what took place. The decision that the referee made regarding this particular catch has become a topic that is widely discussed and continues to generate heated arguments among football fans who believe that the officiating in professional football has become increasingly unreliable. The catch that occurred in the third quarter of Kansas City's game against Detroit, which they won by a score of 30-7, sparked a heated debate across various internet platforms, sports discussion boards, and social media websites. These are places where fans gathered to discuss and analyze every questionable moment. Replay video showed the ball touching the ground while the tight end was attempting to secure it, and many fans pointed to similar plays earlier in the season where catches were reversed for exactly this kind of contact with the turf. As a result, many fans believe that the tight end's catch of 12 yards should have been called incomplete. Before the referees could even make their decision, the Chiefs' offense ran their next play very quickly. The crew had the ability to initiate a replay review, which meant that the initial decision of a completed catch remained official. This is due to the fact that league regulations do not permit reviews to begin once the play that occurs after it has already begun occurs. There was a significant number of viewers who voiced their strong disapproval of the referees, stating that this particular situation demonstrated inconsistency in the manner in which replay reviews are utilized across a variety of situations and teams. If you would like to receive additional content similar to this, make sure to subscribe right away. Based on how clearly the ball hit the ground and how the Chiefs purposefully rushed to snap the ball while officials could properly examine what actually occurred on the field, a popular post from an account that analyzes referees stated that this catch by Kelsey would have been ruled an incomplete pass. This was stated in reference to the fact that the incident occurred on the field. The ruling was supported by a large number of individuals who were on the opposing side of the argument. They argued that Kelsey maintained sufficient control even after the football had made contact with the ground. This was due to the fact that his hands remained under the ball and he maintained control of it throughout the entire process. A commenter on a well-known sports website expressed their opinion by pointing out that there was not a great deal of movement when the ball made contact with the ground. As a result, they were uncertain as to whether or not the decision would have been altered, even in the event that an official review had been conducted. This is because the evidence might not have been sufficient to overturn the initial decision that was made on the field